Sports Talk. Let's go. Good morning, everyone. How you guys doing? It's me, your boy, Ryan Flowers, a.k.a. Clutch Sports Talk, and welcome to another edition of NFL Sunday Wake Up, man. We have lots to cover as usual. We got to go over yesterday's games between the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans and the slight scare that the San Francisco 49ers received from the Green Bay Packers last night. Also, I have to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Same old stuff with them, man. Also, we're going to break down each and every Sunday game today for the divisional round between the Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, and also the Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then we'll wrap up the show with my clutch picks of the week. So listen, you guys need to pull up a seat, chill out, relax, and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Welcome in. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for watching me wherever you guys are right now. If you're on YouTube, make sure you guys drop a comment and make sure to also subscribe to my channel as well as the Grid Network, where we host a plethora of other talented content creators here in the sports arena. But listen, man, it's divisional weekend here, man. The season is getting closer, drawing closer to the Super Bowl here in Las Vegas. And now we have two more games to decide who will be in the conference championship games starting next week. But first and foremost, man, again, listen, it's every week is exciting, man, but it's bittersweet because again, the season it's almost over. I mean, the season ended for me last week with the Cowboys out, but I'm still gonna watch because I run an NFL show, so I got to watch the games and I got to give you guys really good content. But nonetheless, man, it's getting sad, because we all love football. We all love football, man, and I don't want to think about it. So I'm going to tear up right now if I even could continue talking about it. But it's definitely a stark reality that we all have to face, especially if you love the NFL. All right, so let's get into the games, man. Last night or yesterday, let's start in Baltimore with the Ravens and the Houston Texans. Now, Lamar Jackson did what he needed to do, and I'll talk about him in just a moment. But I will want to give a big shout out to the Baltimore Ravens defense. They literally dismantled the Houston Texans. That's where this game was won. In all estimation, they dominated the Houston Texans, not allowing any touchdowns, right? No red zone attempts. What else? Dominated time of possession. Well, that was the offense more side of the things. But they gave their offense 20 more plays than the Houston Texans. I believe the Ravens finished with 67 offensive plays and the Texans finished with only 47. Also, the Ravens limited penalties, only 3 compared to the Texans 11, which is huge as well. And only allowing the Texans rushing ground game to only 38 yards, where, you know, the Ravens went off for like over 200 and something yards, with Lamar Jackson leading all rushers with 11 carries on 100 yards with the ball. So shout out to this defense is nasty. And maybe CJ Stroud, although he had a great year, he wasn't ready for that. He just wasn't ready for that, right? So shout out to them. And as far as Lamar Jackson, I mean, listen, he did what he needed to do. Like, I've been documented, I'm not that big of a fan of Lamar Jackson. Some people think it's kind of hating. It might be, I don't know, but I'll say this. He did what he needed to do. He played within the rule, or he took whatever what was given to him, right? Really didn't pass the greatest yesterday, obviously. He's not really known for a passer. He's more of a running quarterback, of course, which it showed. He only threw for 11 attempts, or excuse me, 22 attempts, if I'm not mistaken, 37, 150 yards, something like that. Not that much, but where he's most effective is in the run game. That's where Lamar Jackson makes his bread, right? It's the ability for him, when things break down, things get off script, he can roll out, he can run, which it clearly shows in the stats that that's what he's more effective at least in this particular game. Now, we'll see who he'll have to play next week, and we'll talk about those games next week, not next week, here in just a couple minutes, against the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. But shout out to the Ravens. I think that was more of a defensive win. If anything, they shut down a good, talented rookie quarterback who I feel like the future is bright for the Houston Texans. And if they just can keep building, we might see them do some things here in the future. So shout out to them. But again, overall, Baltimore Ravens were the better team by far, for sure. We got some comments already in about this game. Patrick says Ravens defense was physical than Houston, but defense in all of football, in my humble opinion. Right, of course. What's up, EJ Savage of the Boys in the Zone? He's the new member of the Grid Network. Shout out to him, man. Make sure you guys check him out. Welcome, man. Appreciate the comments. Patrick's already in here. He says, good morning. Happy Sunday. Hope you're staying warm in your region. It's cold and rainy out here today. So, yeah, I'm trying to stay warm as long as I can. Patrick says, rushing lanes were wide open, like the 405 freeway for Lamar. Texans have nothing to be ashamed of. Very successful first season with rookie head coach and quarterback. Absolutely. That's something to build upon because I don't think anyone thought they would be in the playoffs. 10-win season from going from 3-13. They were playing with house money this week, so good for them. All right. In the nightcap, we had the Green Bay Packers taking on the San Francisco 49ers, and the 49ers fans were definitely had to check their draws after this game because it was close. And honestly, if you ask me, the Packers probably were the better team overall. They controlled this game for the most part, but just miscues, mistakes down the stretch really cost them. It started with two. The missed field goal with 5 minutes left in the game would have given them a 7-point lead, and then Brock Purdy leads them, his team down to basically take the lead with the touchdown, would have eventually tied the game, right, and would have given the Packers an opportunity to try to win the game down the stretch. However, it didn't happen. Also, turnovers were an issue. Jordan Love, I think, threw 2 interceptions, especially that last one was very costly in the end, which pretty much sealed the game. And also one thing, red zone inefficiency. The Packers got down there 5 times and only converted 40% of the time. Whereas you look at the 49ers, 100% every time they got down there in the red zone. So that's big, man. When you're trading field goals for touchdowns, that's usually not a good indicator or a good recipe to win a football game, especially against a team as talented as the San Francisco 49ers. So, but, again, I think overall the Packers overachieved this year. Jordan Love proved that he can play in this league. He looked cool. He looked calm. Couple rookie mistakes down the stretch, obviously, or not rookie, but, young quarterback mistakes down the stretch proved to be a huge detriment to this team. But listen, Packers bright future, just like the Texans. They've got some young wide receivers out there that have emerged. The defense really was really good this season, especially down the stretch. And if you're the Niners fans waking up, you're just kind of like, well, you know what, man, we survived that because the Green Bay Packers were one of the hottest teams going into the playoffs, and you kind of avoided disaster there, right? So now they will await the winner between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions. I'll say this. I'll give you. I'll talk about this in a little bit later. But San Francisco 49ers, listen, you better hope Debo is healthy by next week. Okay, he is probably the catalyst for that offense. Brock Purdy really did not look good overall last night, but he did get the job done in the end. He did lead that come from behind touchdown score to get the win. So good for him. What I've seen so far with all these championship contending teams, they have clutch players, and we'll talk about players that are not so clutch with the Dallas Cowboys. So there you have it. You listen, really good win by the Baltimore Ravens, and a not even a solid win, just a win by the San Francisco 49ers, because honestly, probably should have lost that game. For sure. And Patrick says, Darnell Savage dropped interception. Yes, that would have been a pick six. That would have probably sealed that game. So miscues. Thanks for bringing that up as well. All right. So that's the recap for Saturday's games. Let's talk about something that's near and dear to me, or was once, because I pretty much renounced these fools because they get on my damn nerves, is the damn Dallas Cowboys. And the same old with them, right? So after getting throttled at home last week, and the only home team to lose in the playoffs last week, the Dallas Cowboys have basically, they're going to keep Mike McCarthy. Dan Quinn still up in the air. We don't know if he's going to take the job in Seattle or is he going to go somewhere else. But Mike McCarthy will be the guy. Now, I've had a week to think about this, and here's what I think. Bill Belichick would have never worked. The whole Mike Jerry Jones and the head coach, they need to be on the same page, meaning they just need to be a yes man. Mike McCarthy just wants to be employed at this point. So, of course, he's going to be doing whatever Jerry Jones wants him to do. And, I made a video about this earlier this week about Jerry Jones being the problem, and he will always be the problem. And then I have nitwits and numbskulls that say, oh, no, it's not Jerry Jones. Listen, he's the owner of the team. He's the end all be all. Okay. The buck starts with him. And he's been the common denominator for the last 30 something years of why this team cannot succeed. And it starts with, the guys that he hires. Okay. But nonetheless, Mike McCarthy, He's going to run it back. Now he won't get an extension. He's going to play out his last year of his contract and see what happens. Now I get it. In the last 3 seasons, they've won 12 games, 36 games in total. If I'm not mistaken, I did the math right. That's pretty good. That's really good, right? A lot of teams cannot say that they've won 36 games in the last 3 years. However, the problem with this team, and I'm always big on this, is that I don't care about regular seasons anymore. I want to see what you do in a couple areas. Number one, the playoffs. Okay, right. Number two, how do you fare against other playoff type teams during the regular season when I do look at regular season games? I don't care if you blow out the Patriots in week 2 or week 3 when the Patriots aren't going anywhere. But what do you do against the teams like the Chiefs or Dolphins or Bills? Like that gives me more resolve as a fan. Like, you know what? I think that we can handle the playoffs. And what did the Cowboys do? They lost to the Bills, got blown out on the road, lost to the Dolphins on the road. Who's another playoff team that they lost to? They lost to the Eagles at one point, right? Got blown out by the San Francisco 49ers, right? They did not fare well. And so when they got into the wild card weekend last week, I picked them to win, of course. But in my deep down, I was like, they're gonna choke. And that's exactly what they did. Literally, I could not watch that game after the first quarter. I was like, they're done. And solely because the defense was just terrible. And that really was not the first time the defense had looked terrible. They had started to regress throughout the end of the season. Micah Parsons is always a shell of himself. You want to talk about a front running type player? Micah Parsons is that guy. Like I said before, he's more interested in going on and mouthing off during his podcast. And to his credit, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, he's not a full-time edge rusher. They got to get this notion out of their heads that he is a TJ Watt, because he's not, right? Move this guy backer, blitz him on occasion, right? Go in the draft, go get a defensive end that can get after the pass rush full-time and move him back. And another thing with the defense, Dan Quinn, really, you got guys, and it worked for him before in a limited capacity with guys like Keanu Neal. He likes to take safeties and play them at the linebacker spot. And then when you're playing teams like the Green Bay Packers who run the football, you got a 215-pound safety playing middle linebacker. What the hell do you think is going to happen, right? He's going to get washed out of that play. The pulling guards or tackles are going to just clear him out of the way. They need a middle linebacker. The corners, I'm okay with them. We'll get Trayvon. They'll get Trayvon Diggs back next year. Maybe you can sign Stephon Gilmore. Deron Bland had a pretty good year this year, right? Obviously, but at the end of the day, they switched to a zone defense for some reason, right? When they really don't play a lot of zone. So there was a lot of miscues and mismanagement. Was it Dak's fault that they lost this game? No, I'm not going to blame the whole thing on him, right? But he didn't really play that well either. You know what I mean? So, like, again, at the end of the day, when you're watching these other teams that are playing, and sometimes they're not even playing at their best, but they find a way to win. That's not the Dallas Cowboys. When they're not playing well, things start to spiral, right? There's no accountability on this team whatsoever, right? From the owner to the head coach, down to the quarterback. No one's calling each other. Again, I'm not in the locker room, right? I don't know that 100%, but just from the outside looking in, if I'm Dak, I'm going over to Mike and be like, hey, man, like, chill out on the podcast, man. Like, have your little show, but like, Jesus Christ, man, like, shut up. Like, please shut up and tackle. Okay. I hate to say that, but that's what we're down to. And the Cowboys have a big decision here, right? You're going to have to, are they going to extend Dak, which they probably will. Okay. You got CD's contract coming up, and you're going to have to pay Micah Parsons. What do you do? What do you do? Because at this point, you run this team back again, it's going to be the same problem because they don't have it in them. CD dropping balls in the early of that game. It's like, what the hell? Right? Come on, man. You got rookie wide receivers out there making impact plays, and you got veteran guys that are stinking up the joint. And so this team continues to disappoint their fans and their fan base, including myself. So I've told myself, listen, and no one believes me, but I told myself, next year, I'm out on the Cowboys. Like, I don't want to hear nothing about them. Oh, this is their year. Oh, this is who they sign. Because Jerry Jones is not going to sign anybody. He's not. He likes his guys. It's the reason why, he picks the guys who he picks. Now, Will McClay has some part in that too as well. But who knows? Maybe Jerry Jones is telling Will McClay, hey, man, I want this guy instead of this guy. Right? Maybe Will McClay should just be the general manager. Right? Because the 2023 draft for the Cowboys sucked. And I knew it sucked when they picked their players. Mozzie Smith, get the hell out of here. Luke Schoonmaker. Who? Then we got Deuce Vaughn. And then all the Cowboys fans, oh, yeah, man, he's good, man. He was so productive in college. Shut the hell up. The guy is 5'5", right? There's only been one guy that tiny in the National Football League who has made an impact like that. Darren Sproles and probably Austin Eckler. Okay? So shut the hell up. Like the Cowboys fans are so delusional at some point. It's like, it's a 6th, 7th round pick. You think that guy is really going to make an impact? No, he's not. We should have took an offensive lineman like Osiris Torrance. Oh, by the way, it's still in the playoffs with the Buffalo Bills, right? Maybe Sam Laporta, another tight end. Now, Ferguson has emerged as a really good tight end, so I'm okay with the tight end situation. But interior defensive lineman should have took a better one. But we got Mozzie Smith, who really has been a bust. So I don't care how you flip it. Mike McCarthy's coming back. I don't think, honestly, at the end of the day, who would have been able to be suitable for this team, for at least in Jerry Jones' eyes as a head coach? Again, not Bill Belichick for sure. He wouldn't have been because they won't agree. Mike Vrabel, no. So it's fitting that Mike McCarthy is going to stay because why? He's a puppet at the end of the day. And Jerry Jones needs to get out of the way, which he won't until, unfortunately, he passes away. And even then, the team will be passed down through his son through nepotism and inheritance, and it'll probably be much of the same. So if you're a Cowboys fan and you're still rocking with them today, God bless your soul, because you're going to be irritated next year. This team will never accomplish anything with the current regime. And you can blame the play calling, you can blame the players, but you know what? All these things change over time. The one single remaining factor that has been there since their last Super Bowl win is Jerry Jones. And if you don't think he's the problem, then you're a fucking idiot. And I'll leave it at that. All right. All right, let's get to some comments here real quick. Let's see. All Even Podcast, Barry Grant Jr., shout out to him, had his first, I think it was his first live on Friday. Check out his show. He said, damn kicker. Yeah, the Packers kicker. He's done. You know, best player on the Cowboys right now is Brandon Aubrey, just so you know. But anyway, yeah, Michael Parsons should be ashamed of himself, right? Should be ashamed of himself, man. Dak is a James Harden in the NFL. Yeah, stat-wise, but when it comes down to being clutch, he's nowhere to be found. Mike McCarthy is not a motivator, neither is Dak. Yeah, I 100% agree. I think the thing with Dak is that his personal story, people gravitate to. It's a very heartfelt type of story, right? Mother passes away, cancer, doesn't get a lot of recruitment out of high school. His 4th round pick, makes it to the NFL, has a great rookie year. I like him as a person. But, man, like, sometimes I get sick of him getting to the podium. I need him to go in the locker room and get in some motherfuckers' asses. That's what I need you to do, Dak Prescott. All right? I need you to say, hey, motherfucker, catch the ball if I throw it to you. Hey, tackle. Do something. I'm tired of taking the heat on the press conference. All right? Because I know that's what he's doing. He's not throwing guys under the bus. But you know what? Shit. Sometimes he needs to be the bus driver and start running over fools, because it's just getting ridiculous. No accountability. So, yes, I agree with you, Barry. Patrick says we played this game like a preseason game, sadly. Yeah, they were testing out shit. Like, this ain't the time to be testing out stuff, Dan Quinn. All right. There are primarily a man defense, but you switch in the zone with 215-pound linebackers. All right. Instead of Micah getting tough on the field, he gets tough on the set. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I know people, Skip Bayless can be annoying to a lot of people, including myself. I get it. But don't bow up to him. Hey, Michael, why weren't you getting after that rookie tackle that was busting your ass last week? How about that? Right? Okay. And then Micah is going to be the highest paid defensive player ever and will never. Oh, yeah. A lot of the Cowboys. And the Cowboys are going to pay him, right? But if it was me, I would say, nah, we're good. I would move you to linebacker and pay you as a linebacker, and we're going to go get a defensive end, a real defensive end, a guy that's 6'5", 6'6", 275 pounds, like a Myles Garrett frame. Like, that's what they need. DeMarcus Lawrence is still good because he's good in the run game, but they need a pass rusher for sure, and they need an interior lineman. All right. This past year's draft was an F. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's take a look at the preview for today's games. Oh, get the comment out the way here. So we're going to start with Tampa Bay and the Detroit Lions. Um, this is what I think for some keys to victory for both teams. Now, number one, Tampa Bay's defense has been playing lights out the last couple weeks. I believe they're seventh in scoring defense, only giving up I think 19 and a half points a game in the last five in their 5 games or 5 outings. It's pretty damn good, right? So they're gonna have to really hone in a little bit more today because the Lions offense is pretty potent as well. And then also for them on offense, Baker Mayfield is just gonna have to not play. Him and Mike Evans are gonna have to get going. They're gonna have to score a little bit more today in order for them to maybe come to come out of here, right? So defense got to be dominant still. Now they do boast a very good rush defense for sure, which the Lions, which I'll talk about here in just a second, the Lions love to run the football as well. Very balanced team. Vita Vea right there in the middle. That's going to be the battle right there that I want to see. If they can somehow slow that down and make the Lions more one-dimensional, then they got a chance. And especially if Baker can make a play here, make a play there with Mike Evans or Godwin, then they have a chance of winning this game. So those are my keys to victory. Continue to play good defense, be strong in the run, and Baker is going to have to play a really good game. Okay. Now, Detroit Lions, one of the most balanced teams in all of professional football on the offensive side of things, right? I got this stat here. Let's see. They're the second best team in passer rating with Jared Goff. Now, this is going to be an interesting matchup because, again, when I said they were balanced, right? If they're not able to run, that will kind of play a big role in what they do in the passing game. They'll be more predictable, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can get after it as well. But if they're able to run the ball with Gibbs and I believe what's the kid's name, Singletary, they have a chance. But it's gonna at the end of the day, I think it's gonna rest on the shoulders of Jared Goff. Jared Goff. All right. Because I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be effective in the trenches, stopping the run game. So Jared Goff is going to have to go out there and ball out, which I think there's a chance. And on top of the fact that they're going to be at home, that gives them the slight edge. So obviously, I got the Lions winning this game just because of the home field advantage, honestly. But I think it's going to be a close game because most Lions games are close, and they can either go either way. Honestly, they should have lost last week. I picked them to lose, but they ended up getting the win. But this week I'm going to go with them and see what they do there. Okay, so I got the Lions winning that game. All right, moving on to the Kansas City Chiefs. Listen, we all know that the Chiefs' offense has not been potent at all, whatsoever. But the highlight of this team has been what? Their defense. Their defense. Their defense, young, very, very, very attacking style, opportunistic, and that's where they're going to be. Now, I will say, though, on offensive side, Isaiah Pacheco has been running like a madman, right? I think he's had his last 4 or 5 games, he's rushed for over 80 yards. He's touched the ball, a couple of touchdowns. And then what's the kid's name? Rashahi. I think his name is Rashahi Rice. Is that his name? He's emerging a little bit. Now, will this be his time to set not set the record straight, but to step up? This is where legends are made. The playoffs, man. Will he be able to step up? Now, the Bills are without a couple defensive starters, so there is an opportunity there, right? Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. This is his first road playoff game, if I'm not mistaken. In a cold, rigid, but the good thing with them is that they play in a cold environment anyway. Now, I know it's probably going to be a little bit colder in Buffalo, but I think they should be used to the cold. It's not like Miami coming from South Beach going to a cold environment. So that shouldn't probably be much of as a factor as I think people think it is, because Kansas City gets cold. We saw that last week. They were basically playing on a sheet of ice last week. Okay. So keys to victory. If the Chiefs defense could limit the big plays by Josh Allen, and if Rashahi Rice and Isaiah Pacheco can be effective, the Kansas City Chiefs definitely have a chance of winning this game for sure. Now, you look at the Bills, right? I believe Gabe, what's the guy's name? What's his name? God, I forgot his name. Wide receiver. Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis is going to be out. He's going to be out. So it's going to fall. Stephon Diggs. Oh, excuse me 1 second. Now, Stephon Diggs is probably going to be coveted a lot by the Kansas City Chiefs. So we're going to look at Dalton Kincaid as a big factor for this game, as well as Khalil Shakur, right? He basically put the game away for the Bills last week with that touchdown against the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the game. And then Dalton Kincaid stepped up as well. So they're gonna have to have really good games against a really good defense as well, right? Josh Allen's gonna be Josh Allen. Now he probably will throw a pick or two or some type of ungodly, unforced turnover. That will probably keep the Chiefs in the game. This is going to be a close game. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I think both games are going to be close. I think the Chiefs and Bills game is going to live up to what we all expect it to be, right? So as far as the recap for the Bills and their keys to victory, those two guys that I mentioned, Dalton Kincaid and Shakur, are going to have to step up. I think Stephon Diggs will. I don't think he'll have a monstrous game, but these two teams, they know each other very well. Obviously, they played each other earlier this year. It went to overtime. Kansas City Chief or Patrick Mahomes was pissed off with the refereeing. So they know each other well. So this game is going to be close. But Chiefs play good defense. Pacheco, Rice step up. Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, limit turnovers. If you can do that and the young guys step up, then they'll get the win. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs to get the upset in this one for sure. It's hard to beat a team twice in a year, man. It really is. If you've ever played any type of competitive sports, playing a team twice in the same season, it's hard. It's hard. All right. So there you have it. So let's take a look at the clutch picks of the week before we get out of here. So right now I am 2-0. 2-0 this week, looking to stay undefeated as we get into the NFC and AFC Conference Championship games. So I had Baltimore winning. They did that. I got Kansas City winning today. We'll see. Detroit, we'll see about them. And the Niners escaped narrowly yesterday against the Packers. So there you have it. So, all right, let's go read some last minute comments before we get out of here. Patrick Brown says David Montgomery is a power back. Oh yeah, power. It's Montgomery. I'm thinking. Oh, I think Singletary is in the Texans. Yes, it's David Montgomery is a power back. Gibbs can slice defenses. It'll boil down to which quarterback makes the least amount of mistakes. Yeah, I would say that it's going to come down to the quarterbacks, I think, at the end of the day. And then this is a legacy game for Josh Allen. He's got a breakthrough today. This playoffs has a lot of legacy creating going on. Like Lamar Jackson, if he can get to the conference championship, well, he didn't make it to he's going to make it to the conference championship game. If he can get to a Super Bowl, that's going to boost his legacy a little bit more. Same thing for Josh Allen as well. Patrick Mahomes really doesn't have that much. He's won the Super Bowl twice, MVP, yada, yada, yada. I will say this, though. If he does get there to the Super Bowl or even to the AFC Conference Championship game with the season that he's had, with the roster that he's had, it just goes to show, man, that guy's a player. So we'll have to wait and see. So, but hey, listen, man, that's all I got for today. It was a pretty short show. But listen, make sure you guys watch the games today. Tune into my live next week, Sunday. It'll be conference championship week. Also, check out my Coach Clutch sessions. It'll be dropping every Thursday. Make sure you guys check that out as well. Other than that, head over to the Grid, subscribe to my channel, as well as the Grid Network channel as well. Other than that, man, that's all I got. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. This is your boy Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday. Wake up with me, Ryan Flowers. Like I always say, never settle till the work is done. We'll see you guys later. Peace.